Right, where do I start with an explanation of what's going on in my brain? I can't figure it out, so I don't expect you to figure it out. But thinking about it, I mean, this is a fly on the wall class. And I think I started this class with plans, which doesn't normally happen in a fly on the wall, apart from I sometimes say I want to look at this and that, which I did with you, I guess, but I had firmer plans with you, which didn't throw me or do anything to alter how I work, but I feel compelled to carry these things through, and I want to anyway. I love this. Just looking at this now, I've ironed it right, and just looking at it now there in its form, just this little thing here, it's so cute. If you can hear something, I've got a new heater in here, and it should turn off in a minute. When it gets to a certain temperature, it turns itself off, so I do apologise. I hope it's not too obtrusive. If it is, let me know, and I'll make sure I turn it off in the future before I start filming. I should have put it on earlier to warm the place up, and I forgot. I've also got a bit of a cold, so I might sneeze. I do apologise. I've got tissues at the ready, clean tissues at the ready. So yeah, so I started, you'll notice there's no bullion loops on here, so I started doing that, and I thought, Karen, you can do better than this just looks so scruffy. And I mean, it might look different, and I'm always telling people, see the bigger picture and think about what's going to happen in the future, and like when you add and add and add to something, and it does change, it really does. And I stick by my mantra of see the bigger picture, because it is valid, but I just thought I wasn't thinking enough. Now, whether that's because I don't feel 100%, I've just come back from holiday, I've got decorators coming next week, I don't know, but regardless, it's fly on the wall, I've changed my mind, so I'm explaining to you why I've changed my mind and what I'm going to do now going forward. So I looked at the bullion loops and I thought, yeah, I could do them all along there, but so what? They wouldn't make as much of a statement as I want them to make. If you look at this piece, it's very, very small area that I'm embellishing here, as you know, and this can't be all there is. It has to go on something that's worthy of it, and that lifts it and enhances it and makes it more than just this. So that's what I was thinking, and I thought I'm going to make you some more videos, because it's important to me that you, because it's fly on the wall especially, that you know what I'm thinking, what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I still need to do buttonhole lace down there. I haven't done that yet. I've done all the beads along there. I've done my guilloche stitch down there, which I love. Now I've got a seam up here that I'm going to embellish, probably with buttonhole lace, and then I think that'll be that finished in terms of surface embroidery until I attach it to the paper piece. Okay, so I'm going to do those and damp stretch it. Next time I want to work on the charm piece, but next time I'll also, and by the way, that's changing as well in my head as we speak, but that happens. You'll know that if you start something, if you've been embroidered, maybe the newbies won't know, but they will now, won't they, after seeing all this. Those of you who've been with me a long time know that that's what happens, but that's what sampling's all about. You try and you not that it doesn't work, but you think, oh, I could improve it by X, Y, Z. So that's what's happening here. Don't ever beat yourself up about that. So I've done the stab stitch there as well. I'm going to do that seam, and I'm going to buttonhole lace down the edge of this addition that I put on, just down that side. Then I'm going to damp stretch it, so when I come back next time, even though it's going to be about the charm piece mostly, I'll do a bit more on this in terms of the edging it with the running stitch and then cutting it out. Now, just to say about the damp stretching of this, I damp stretched it last night, and you can see the pinholes, they're not at the edge, and that's because it's important when you're damp stretching this to get all the layers, and all the layers don't extend to the edge, so you've got to pull every single layer that extends beyond your design area. You've got to pull them together for the stretch, so that's why the pinholes are not at the very edge of this. Okay, so right, so going back to this, what do I want to do with this? Well, I know what I want to do with it. I want to make it more substantial. I want to make more of a statement on here, so I'm going to layer paper and lace on here. Now you might think, oh, well, you didn't tell us to buy any paper. I can't remember if I did or I didn't, to be fair. Probably I didn't, but don't worry about that, because I thought I had. Because tracing paper, well, maybe not tracing paper, but you can get, it's quite easy to get these fine papers online, but if you can't, it doesn't matter, just use lace, it's fine. So what I think I'll do is I'll do the lower bit paper. I'll move that. We'll work on that in the same way, but not on a different at a different time. I mean, so this that's on here, by the way, my mum made me this. It hangs over when the sewing machine's on. It's got pockets and things on it for the sewing machine for putting like thread and stuff in. So if you're not doing my ledger class, you won't know that I don't like cut edges. I always tear my paper. I prefer torn edges. Okay, so now it needs to really, as far as it can, stay true. Now maybe stay true to the edge, so maybe I should do it underneath the layering and apply this on top. Let's see. So just build it up. So if I put that on like that, get it to the right width, which is like that. Doesn't matter if the bottom of these papers isn't flush. And by that I mean, I'm going to cough, excuse me. Doesn't matter if, like, say for example, this piece does that. Doesn't matter, because there's going to be lace on here as well. So I now know that that's the right width. So if I lift that off and keep that at that width, and then literally just get bits of lace and add them wherever. So say I put that one there, and then scissors, Karen scissors, and get a little bit of this. So I've left the one in about the bullion knots because I think it's important that you see how my mind works, because really that's the whole point of this, I think, this class. And you might think, well, what's the point? We're putting lace on top of that paper, you can't see that paper. Well, the point is depth and layering. Depth and layering, okay. So there's little black bits on it, isn't there? Well, maybe there isn't. Looks like there is. See what I mean though about little black fibres getting everywhere? They do. Doesn't help when you mostly wear black clothes, I guess, like me. I've got another bit here, cut this bit off. Struggling to breathe here, so one of these might have to resuscitate me. Right, so something up here now. Now you could layer and layer and layer forever. Do it until you're comfortable with it, until you're happy with how it looks. Put them over there because I've used them. All these little bits of paper that I've ripped up. Flitter. I'll just cut a bit off here. This might be too big actually, but we'll see. So literally just build up your layers. It doesn't matter, I guess. Yeah, it is too big. But don't throw anything away, because that would come in again for layering somewhere else. Not necessarily on this piece, but on other work. Right, now I can't see that one there, so I'm going to take that one out and put it on top. Right, I like that. So everything's movable, nothing's set in stone yet. I'll put that one there. Okay. So now I need to pin all this together. Now I'm pinning through paper, so I'm going to use my old pins. And then I need to baste it. Just randomly baste it. Well, not randomly, just scruffily. Scruff is what the word I was looking for. Get my thing back. Put it on there. Like, now that is much better. That is much more deserving of having that other piece attached to it. Okay. So if I get that back, although it's not in the shape it should be in, if I just fold over the front edge, that's much better, isn't it? Okay. I haven't yet decided whether I'm going to embellish this. What I'm going to do is work on this first. Now it's going to get creased while I'm working on it. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's going to get creased. but I can iron it up to the point where the stitching begins. Okay, so what I need to do now is baste that. You just bear with me a second while I tidy this up, because I don't want to lose anything. I really don't want to lose anything. It's the pile I'm using so much at the moment, because I'm using it for ledger cloths as well, this lace and stuff. Right, so I'll just put that over there. Try and keep a tidy workspace. Right, so I'll get my the heater's still on. It is quite cold today. It does turn off though when it's new. I've just bought it. I had another one in here, but it was too big. It was getting in the way. So this is one that just fits in your plug socket and sits in the plug socket. In fact, I've got a plug right next to me, but then it would be too loud if I had it plugged in over here. So it's at the back of the room. And then before I turn this off, I'm going to work a bit more on the main piece. Am I? No, I'm not. Actually, what we're talking about. I don't know why I said that. I think because I did think about doing that buttonhole with you, but I don't think it's necessary. Right, so if I just baste all this together, I've got to make sure it's all basted together. And then I've also got to think about when I attach it to the front of the piece. Where I attach it, actually, I'll go through that when I get to that bit. So I've got to kind of go all over with these basting stitches, because nothing's in a line, is it? Everything's just laid randomly on top of everything else. So I have to take them all over the piece to make sure I catch everything. I've got a little bit here that keeps flicking up that probably needs to be ironed, but so as long as I'm convinced I've caught all this securely, and don't forget, it doesn't matter about the reverse of this, because you're not going to see it. It's going to be mounted on mount board, so you won't see it. So right, so I think that's it. So if I take these out, so what I need to do now is get this back, lay it on there, okay. Like that. Now, so I need to pin that on there, but then I also need to look at the reverse and see if the act of stitching this on here with bullion loops, or whatever I decide to do, I might not do bullion loops now, it's going to secure everything here. So that's the line. Does it run across both bits of that paper though? That's the point. And the answer to that is, I think it does, but if it didn't, I would have to secure that separately, maybe with a few little ties or something. So I am going to go away and baste that on there, and then bullion loop on there. So because I've come back to you about this, because I've changed my mind, even though next time will be the charm piece, it will also be a little bit of chat about this piece, and it will be about cutting this out as well. I will do that buttonhole with you actually on there. So I'm really curious to know how noisy that heater is, because I don't feel the warmth over here, to be honest. Might need to move it nearer. I don't think I can turn down the speed either to make it quieter. But do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn off, because it's bothering me that it might be annoying you. Move it over here and see if I can turn the speed down. It won't be a sec. Right, I have moved it over here and I've turned the speed down, but it's still quite noisy. It's noisy to me, but I won't know till I watch this video back. In fact, I could probably do that now on my camera. I'm going to turn off again, sorry. Right, I've turned it off because you can hear it on the camera. I'll have to remember to put it, hang on. Excuse me. I'll have to remember to put it on an hour before I come in and then turn it off while I'm making videos. I do apologise. Sneezing, it's the worst thing in history. Well, maybe not, but... Right, so I'm going to just start this buttonhole on this seam with you. Hey. So this is my edge up here. Remember I said be careful you don't start anywhere too near where you're going to be cutting. So I've come in a smidgen from the edge. That internationally renowned measurement of a smidgen. I've got a really rough throat. My throat feels really hoarse and dry and gravelly. Sound like that guy, what's he called, is it? Hank Marvin, I can't remember. Let's get a drink. I blame my son's fiancée. She came round the other night for tea and she was full of a cold. So I blame her, plus she works with babies, she's a midwife. So she probably picks up germs because she's on the community at the moment. So she goes round to houses where new babies have been born to check them over and check the mothers over. And these houses very often have other little children in there, and we all know what little children are like for carrying bugs and things home from school and stuff. When my kids were little, I always had something that they got from school or playgroup. So I blame her. She was late coming. She rang me. She says, "Oh, I'm going to be late because I've been to see a baby boy and he's not well. So I've had to take emergency bloods off him and now I have to take them to the hospital before I come." Oh, I'd be crying every day if I was a midwife. Right, so I'm going to fasten that off and go back and do my second row. And how can you take bloods off a baby? Well, and obviously you can, but it can't be the easiest thing in the world. They won't have very big veins, will they? And plus it'll be wriggling, and I'm sure it'll be screaming. Right, so I'm going to change to a blunt needle actually, because I don't want to be picking up that lace by accident. That's something else you need to consider. So once I've done the buttonhole lace, once I've learnt how to thread a needle, I might be able to call myself an embroidery teacher. Right. I might need to cough. Just give me a minute and I'll tell you. Yeah, I do, just a bit. Right. So oh, it's only a tiny seam, but even this I think is going to make all the difference to this top bit. I don't really know that it needs anything else, because with everything else that's going to be going on around it in terms of the paper backing and everything, I think it'll be fine. And then go through to the back and fasten that off. So I think that's enough, because when you think there's going to be running stitch around there, down there. I like the contrast between this heavily embellished area and this more minimalist area. I don't know the word I need. Right, so next time, and just to say that might be Tuesday because I've got a decorator coming next week and he doesn't think he can do it in the the time frame I need for videos and stuff. So it might be Tuesday, but it'll still be next week sometime. It'll be the charm piece, and also a lot more work happening on this. Well, a lot more work in terms of like doing that running stitch and cutting it out, and hopefully I've made progress with this. I've already shown you how to create bullion loops onto paper in that earlier video. I'm not sure I'm going to do bullion loops now on here, but that's irrelevant. You know how to do those. But if I was going to do bullion loops on here, I would do them in exactly the same way as if this was just paper and nothing else. Because it's paper there, even though this strengthens it a little bit. I don't want to over crease it, you see. No, I think it's going to be fab. Might have to, just in recognition of hand stitch, might have to do something up these. Possibly just running stitch, just to give a nod to the fact that this is about hand stitch, you know. But we'll see. I mean, there's a long way to go, really, I guess. This is the kind of thing that could be done very quickly if you weren't going to embellish your paper. But I think it'll benefit, the stitched piece will benefit from having work done on here, and especially from having this added. Why does that look pink? I wonder if there's a bit of a pink tinge in that paper that I put on there. Anyway, never mind, it doesn't really matter. So that's me, changed my mind, started it differently. I'm going to progress it differently. Okay.